for today. Thanks for joining us. I'm just really excited to finally share what I've been working for over the last 4 months, I would say. Really exciting new products and features to existing products like Formly, FlowPlay, and the Chrome extension, as well as what we are doing with the Webflow apps. So I'm really excited to finally share this. I think you can kind of see that I just can't wait to get into it. So I'm gonna jump right into it, and I don't want to waste anyone's time. So let me quickly share my screen. And cool, here is so I prepared this slide so it's easier for me to present as well as show you guys what you can actually do with Formly. So this whole thing, this whole slide deck, this pitch is actually made in Webflow and used and it's using Formly. So today we will be covering uh, four different things. So there are two Webflow apps that I really can't wait to actually show you and get some feedback on. Five super useful Formly features. Three of them are quite major and something they've been working for constantly for the last 3 4 months. And I think these three features are really going to be very powerful, and it's going to set Formly apart from every other multi-step solutions that exist. And then small flow play updates, just quality of life updates, as well as Chrome extension updates as well. So let's get into the Webflow apps. So there are two. The first one is Flow Pilot, which is an AI app. Of course, everything has AI in it, but trust me, this one's going to be a bit more useful. The other one is the V Designs app for FlowPlay and for Formly. Again, I'm going to show all of this with demos and everything, so feel free to stick around. So let's start with FlowPlay. What is FlowPlay? Sorry, Flow Pilot. Oh my God, I hate naming things with Flow, but it's what I stick to. So Flow Pilot is our AI app that uses ChatGPT and its APIs to bring in that sort of ChatGPT experience into Webflow natively. Um, so you would ask, why not? Why can't I just use ChatGPT? First of all, I think our main selling point with Flow Pilot is that it's going to be there's a free version, and there's of course there's a paid version for additional features, but the free version would help you a lot. It's going to be built into Webflow, and yeah, I'm just going to go into showing you a demo. So Flow Pilot. So if you want to learn more about it, go to vdesigns.uk/flowpilot, and you can just go around and see what features we have. First of all, it is built into Webflow as a Webflow app. So of course, you can imagine us already working on really cool features that takes advantage of the Webflow APIs. But the main simple one, at least for me, is that I don't have to jump between ChatGPT just to get a bit of code. We also have code profiles. This is something that will help you get code snippets very, very quickly. So, if you want GSAP code, you just need to click on that, type in your prompt, and it understands that you only want GSAP, and it's not going to give you some random ass code that you don't want. And that applies for like CSS, JavaScript, jQuery. The issue with ChatGPT is that you always need to give it some sort of context before you type in your actual prompt. With this, we just simplified it to a simple click. Down the line, we're going to allow you to create your own sort of profiles, just sort of a pre-context, if you will. And here's the best part: there's no monthly cost. It's a one-time payment, and you can use it forever. And the other one is you can bring your own API keys. So in this way, we can keep it free, also not charge you a monthly fee, and you pay for whatever you use. If you don't use it a lot, you pay. I think I use it every day for the last 3 months. My cost is like $3 a month, so it's going to be very cheap, and it's going to be a lot more affordable for a lot more people to use. So if you head over to the site, there's a live demo. So we built a version just for the web, and you can go ahead and ask it questions, and this is how the experience is going to be for you. It's really cool and it's really fast. We have tweaked the prompt, so it's sort of tailored to Webflow. If you use ChatGPT a lot, sometimes it gives you different types of code, and you have to go in and copy it separately. Here, we try to separate it always so that it's very easy for you to copy code snippets and paste it into Webflow. yeah, and you can keep asking it questions. You can change context. So if I go and select GSAP and I say, maybe animate header to show when I scroll down, it knows that I asked for it about GSAP. It gives me the GSAP CDN link, as well as all the code that you need to actually use GSAP, along with comments, which again in the future we will give you the power to disable comments, so you only get the code. And if you scroll down, yeah, this is the pricing. It's going to be very free version. It's very generous. I think it's going to help people get into the coding aspect and use Webflow with code. And then the paid one's going to give you a lot more features, unlimited messages, and access to all of our additional features that we are already working on. The first one is, of course, interactive Webflow. We got onto the Webflow Apps team towards the very end of it, so we didn't have a lot of time to actually get it ready for production, but we already have a beta version that the way it works is you can select elements on Webflow, get its class, get its ID, attributes, set attributes, all of that using Flowpilot. So you don't have to, again, say, this element with this class. You don't have to do it. You can just select it and just say, and you just have to say this, and it understands what you're meaning. And you can say all elements with this class. It knows that what element you have selected, get the class, and write the code for you. Command line interface is our unique way of interacting with GPT. Um, Instead of clicking on buttons, we're trying to make things happen all in the command line. So you can give it prompts or commands to change the way it gives you the code, customize the modes, switch modes, all without leaving the sort of chat-like experience. And then finally, custom profiles is what I just mentioned. You can create your own profiles and store it within Flowpilot, and you can always get the code that you want without sort of repeating it again and again. And these are features that we are going to be working on in the future. Ability for you to save the chat history. Right now, it's not possible. And in the future, you will be able to do this, as well as code snippets, um, as well as copywriting assistance as well. It's going to be quite useful. So let me show you how it works. I'm just going to open up a Webflow project, press E, and you should see Flowpilot in there. Once you launch, if you have not signed up, it's going to ask you for a license key, as well as a API key. So of course, every time when you launch, it doesn't work. Cool. For the license key, you could just head over to website, click on Get License Key. There's a free version and there's a paid version as well. Once you put in your email, it emails you with a license key that you can add. And then for the API key, you have to have a OpenAI account with a valid billing address or like a valid card attached to your account. And the API key is not sent anywhere. It's stored locally in your device. We do not sell it. We can't see it. All of the requests that's being done through Flowpilot is done locally. So there's no backend or a server anywhere that we store your API key. So it's pretty safe. And it's you bring your own API key, so you can use it however you want. The more you use, the more you pay, but it's actually very affordable. Trust me, I use this every day for the last 3-4 months, and I only pay a couple of bucks every month. And then, as you can see, we have all these pre-selected modes. In the future, I'll be able to create different modes. And here, let's say I can select jQuery. I'm quite lazy to think of a prompt, so I'm just gonna copy this prompt over here. And you can see when I select jQuery, it's gonna give me code that's specific just for jQuery. And if I select JavaScript, it writes the same code in JavaScript, so you don't have to tell the AI to keep doing it every time. Yeah, it's free to use. You have 100 messages per month, which we think is more than enough for a lot of users. If you're using code very sparsely with Webflow, you just need a couple of CSS snippets, or you need a little bit of jQuery just to extend Webflow a little bit. It's more than enough. And of course, if you're a pro coder, or if you really think this is going to be useful, you can always upgrade to the paid plan, and then use it forever. And that gives you access to all the future features that we're also working on. So I'm really excited to see what the community does with Flowpilot, and we're really excited to keep building on top of it. yeah, that's Flow Pilot. I hope this is useful. I'm actually looking at the comments right now. I'm really excited to see everyone's here. But if you have any specific questions about Flow Pilot, you can leave it on the chat. I'll get back to it towards the end of the stream. That is it. So let me just close that. That's Flow Pilot. Next, another Webflow app that we worked on in the last 2-3 months is the app for Formally as well as FlowPlay. So this app is also available in the Webflow store. And if you want to know more about it, it's vdesigns.uk/app, and you'll get more information. Um, I have no idea why the Loom video is not showing. Always something breaks. But yeah, when you click on Try Formally, it just, oops. That is so weird. Why is, anyways, I always know something's gonna break. There you go. So the app is available. Both Flow Pilot and the VDesigns app are available in the Webflow App Store. You can download it. This one is completely free for both Formally users as well as FlowPlay users. What we envision this app to be is sort of your docs for, if you use Formally a lot, there is a documentation, and I've never been a fan of that. It's always annoying to switch tabs to if you want to know which attributes to add. This way you have all of your scripts. So for Formally, for FlowPlay, all in one place. You also have all of your attributes, all of your core attributes, the power up attributes. And if you're a pro user, you will have a code that you can add. And once that's validated, you can have all of your pro attributes in here as well. That goes for FlowPlay. All of the attributes are over here, as well as um, templates and clonables that we release will also go on here. So you can copy it and paste it into your project seamlessly. So here I'm going to build a very quick multi-step form. And trust me, you can build a multi-step form in 60 seconds. So first of all, let's copy the script, open up the page tag, and let's paste it in here. Boom. That's that. Now I have the form element. If you use Formally, of course, you know how this all works. And it's very easy. So here we have core attributes. Let me open that up. To the form element over here, I'm going to add the attribute. So when you just click on it, it adds the attributes. You just need to know which element you need to click on and where to add it. But after that, we handle all of that for you. So you don't have to remember where these attributes go or what they're called. So we have the form element, and then we have 4 different steps. So I'm just going to click on each step and click on form step. So if you look at it on the panel over here, you can see the attributes being added automatically. That's done. And then, cool. So here on the first step, there are no inputs. So I need to add a power up attribute. Now, a lot of you may be thinking, oh, that's just too many buttons to click. Don't have to worry about it. You can just search for the attributes that you want. So if this is an intro card, there's a steps without inputs, which is the first one. Click on that, the attributes added automatically. Here, this is going to be the next button. So I am going to go and type next, click on that, and you can see the attributes being added automatically. So it's super fast for you to now add attributes using for Formally as well as FlowPlay using the app. This is going to be a back button, so I'm just going to go back, and this one's going to be a next. So now tutorials are going to be a lot easier for me personally, so I can really start building things a lot faster. And if you know how Formally works, this is going to really make it a lot faster for you to start building it. So I can click submit button, all of it's done. I have all of these attributes, the script, let's publish this, and you should see we just built a multi-step form without even, yeah, there you go. Everything works. It's going to make it a lot faster to use Formally, and it's going to be a lot more powerful as we start adding features as well. There's that. And then we also have all of the power-ups as well. When you launch it, it's over here. So for progress indicator, this is going to be the indicator wrapper. So I'm just going to click on that. This is going to be my indicator. There you go. Now I publish it. Sorry if I'm going too fast. I'm trying to save some time. But you can see the app is super powerful, super fast for you to start building forms, multi-step forms using Webflow. And then the same thing goes with FlowPlay. All of the attributes are over here. You just need to click on whichever is going to be a play button, press on that, we add the attribute for you. If you don't want to do all of that, there are also clonables that you can just copy and paste it into Webflow. We add all the attributes for you. You just need to go in and, of course, probably rename the classes a little bit and also just style it to however you want. That just helps you build it much faster. All of this is free to use. You do not have to sign up. There's no catch to it. It's all available via the Webflow App Store. Cool. Yeah, those were the two major apps that we have been working on in the last 2-3 months. A lot more ideas that we have to make it both very powerful. Personally, I think Flow Pilot is going to be super useful for anyone who's into Webflow coding and AI, and we're really excited to see how we can extend that to be the best Webflow AI component, sort of companion in Webflow. Cool. Now we have, oops, where am I going? Cool. I'm going backwards. Cool. All right. We have Webflow apps. That's covered. Now let's go to Formly. This is, I think I'm really excited to show what you can do with Formly. First of all, we have added quiz. Now you can build very complex quizzes using even the CMS. And so based on what the user has selected, you can show different products, different services. You can personality quizzes, all of that could be built in Webflow without writing a single line of code. Weighted quiz is another one. So you can have inputs with different weights, and based on their final weight, you can show a different result at the end. Also could be powered through the CMS. I'm going to show all of this shortly in a demo. Recurring dynamic input is going to be amazing. Have you ever wanted to allow users to add another email or add another team member when they're filling out a form? Now you can do that with absolutely no code, and it's super powerful. And I'm going to show that shortly. You just saw the Webflow app in action, and I'm excited to announce that Formly supports DOM elements. So if you have been following the Webflow space in the last 2-3 weeks, DOM elements have been very popular. It's sort of a secret hidden feature for Webflow. We support that. So if you have a URL DOM element, if you have a range input, all of that is supported natively with Formly. Cool. Let me start. Let's do a demo, right? Let's do. Cool. Let's do a weighted quiz demo. Here I have a couple of. I have 5 questions, 2 answers each, and then inside, based on what we gather from the user, we have 5 different results that we can show. And how do we build this? Without Formly, you have to write a lot of code, but thankfully we have built this in a way where you don't need to know anything about code. All you need is a couple of attributes. So if you're a pro member, head over to your dashboard. All of these features are now live, and you can just click on them to get into it. So let's go with weighted logic first. I'm going to click on it. There's a Loom tutorial that teaches you exactly this in a much more detailed, slower manner. But here I'm just going to do it much faster just to give you an idea. So here, let me bring that project up. The way it works is we have just 3 attributes, essentially. The first one is data weighted selection equals true. This is the attribute that you add to your form element for us to initiate that instance of the form being a weighted quiz. So I add that in here. Every other setup is pretty much exactly the same as any other Formly form. So you have form steps, you have your next buttons, you have your back buttons, you have your cards, and all of that's pretty much exactly the same. And then the next attribute is the attribute that you add to your radio buttons. So these are called data selected attributes. What that means is here I have two options, right? Option 1 and option 2. Let's say if I select option 1, the weight is 1, And this value could be anything. It could be 1, it could be 100, it could be a -100, it could be any value, any whole number that is. So let's say I give it a 1, and if they select option 2, I give it a value of 0, right? So when they had 1, this is 0. And I just repeat that for every other questions depending on my need. So let's say when they select option 2, in question 2, they select option 1, I want to add 2 points. But if they select this one, I want a minus of 1 point. So now you can build, you can build games, you can build personality quizzes based on their total number. You can show them a different result. So again here, after this, I'm just going to put zeros and ones, just so that it's a lot easier for us to keep track of the stuff that the total weight. So I'm going to quickly do that. I'm going to put this as 1, and this is 0. Cool. Now we have all of our radio inputs with this attribute. Now, these are all our results, right? So based on what is their total weight, you want to show a different result. So if they select 5 out of 5, if they get 5 points, you can show them this div. If they get 4 points, you can show them this div. To do that, all you need to add is this attribute data selection, and you add them to your step wrapper itself. So you have a form step, and then inside there we have each of our result. And to that, each one we just add this attribute along with the value that is associated to it. So here it's 5, and here it's going to be 4. Here it's going to be 2. Sorry, 3. Here it's going to be 2, and then here it's going to be 1. And you can also do negative values as well. I'm not sure whether we can get negative values, but yeah, you can also do -1 or -100, whichever value that you think. Let's publish that. Also, let's double check we have the script. We don't. So again, let's open up our app. We don't need to go to the documentations anymore. Copy the script, open up page settings, paste that in, and let's give that a publish. Fingers crossed, I'm not really good at live builds. Probably forgot something, but let's see. So here we have, remember when they select option 1, we add 1 point. When they select question 2, option 1, we had 2 points. So they have 3 points now. This is 0, this is 0, this is 0. There you go. So you see 3 out of 5. We built all of this without even any code. Right? It's amazing. And then we also have yeah, that's amazing, isn't it? So we have powerful features, and then now you can go ahead and play around with it. You can, you can give it different weights, and you can see it always works. It gives you a different result based on the final total answer. And here's the best part: you can actually work this with the CMS. So this is a clonable already live on our Webflow workspace. So go to webflow.com/vdesigns. You should see both our apps as well as all the clonables that are already in there. So you can clone it and use it. Here this is the example that we are looking at, which is the weighted quiz. You can use the CMS. So I'm going to show you how that's done. I'm not going to build it from scratch, but I'm just going to show you the principles of it. So in our CMS, we have our questions. We have the question itself, as well as each of the option with its weight. So the data selection is the weight, remember? So we have the weights over here. So for all of the questions, we have the question, we have the option, we have the weight in the CMS. Also, we have a separate collection of all of the results with information, more information, but more importantly, we have the result string, which is the weight, the total weight that we gave. And we accounted for all of these different versions. In the project, you can see that we have a collection list, and each of the collection item, we have data form equals step, the attribute, and then everything else now it's powered through the CMS. This heading is through a CMS. Webflow doesn't allow us to bind CMS data into form elements. So to work around it, you have to use an embed. Hopefully they fix this soon. But you can see the attributes are pretty much the same. So you have data selected, and that's the weight that we gave it just now. So you're just connecting it to the CMS elements, and then you do that for one and it does it for all of it. So we pull in the name, we pull in the text, and we also pull in the weight through the CMS. And then at the end, we are also pulling in the final results from the CMS as well. So here, I'm going to show you the setup. So this wraps all of our question. And then at the final step, it's going to be the results. So this is going to contain all of our result. Again, there's a collection list inside. And then inside there, each of the CMS item will have the data selection attribute, and you're pulling it again from the CMS itself. So instead of doing it manually one by one, you can now do it all through the CMS. And if you build this for clients, they do not even need to worry about all this attribute stuff. They just need to go in to the quiz, add a question, make sure they account for all the weights, and then formally handles um, all of the backend stuff for you. And then there's one small feature, which is data text equals total weight, that allows you to show the user's total weight on the front end. So, if you're building a game, you can show how many points they have collected so far. And then you can also write code on top of that to show, if they get, depending on what's the result, it can show different div or, throw some animations on top. So this is all now powered through the CMS. And you can see as I go through the different questions, it's all going to be, yeah, there you go. So you have two questions. Sorry, I'm not a pro in HTML, CSS apparently, but yeah, you can play around with this quiz. The clonable is available, so clone it and try it for yourself. I think this is going to be super powerful for everyone who's really interested in building quizzes. But what about normal quizzes? I don't want a weighted quiz. What about a normal quiz? Again, we have accounted that for you. Here we have formally quiz, which similar principles to weight. Again, all of this is a clonable that you can clone, and there's documentations that you can read. But in this example here, you can show a different a different product based on what the user has selected. So I'm going to show you how it works over here. This is the pet, so I'm going to call my pet John. John is a boy. John likes home food. He's a foodie. There you go. So, and this final product is powered through the CMS. So it's amazing what you can actually build. The principles are exactly the same as weighted logic, but instead of numbers, you add actual values. So here, you have data selected equals boy, data selected equals girl. Each of this radio button has its own value. And then at the end here, this is all through from the CMS. So I'm just going to open up the CMS and show you. We have all of the products over here. And it's, again, similar principle. The result string, instead of a final number, it's going to be what string matches to that specific product. So if the user selects boy, meat, and fussy, they see this product. And if they select boy, dry, fussy, they see this product. So you can sort of have control over which string shows which result. But we also don't want you to have 200 results and you have to account for every single bit. If you want to merge different strings to one specific product, all you need to do is add a vertical bar, and this acts like a OR logic essentially. So you can select, users who select boy, meat, fussy, or girl, wet, foodie, or boy, dry, good, all of these results will show this product, and that continues to the rest of it as well. So when you have very large quizzes, you don't have to account for every single result, or you don't have to have different divs, multiple duplicate divs for the same product. You can sort of nest all of them in one. And then we also have a failsafe in case you only have a handful of results that you want. Let's say you only want 3 for each, and the rest of it you don't really care. You can just default them to some random product, or just sorry, we are not interested, or something like that. You can just use other. So other will, in case if the condition, the user's selection fails all of these different results, it just defaults to other. So you do not see a empty div you can throw an error, you can throw saying sorry, we do not support that product or that service, yada yada yada. So it gives you more flexibility on that. Um, yeah, that's formally quiz, that's weighted quiz. Again, that's a clonable. The documentation has Loom videos that goes into this into a lot more detail. And then one more thing I wanted to add with weighted logic is that you can also use range. So you can have, maybe 0 to 5, show me this, 5 to 10, show me that, 10 to 15, show me that. Um, you know what? I'm going to show you how it's built. Let's do it. It's going to be very quick. It's going to be very quick. So I'm just going to quickly show you how you will do that with the same example that we just did earlier. So here we have 5 different divs accounting for 5 different results. But what if you don't want to do this? What if you want 1, 2, and 3 to show one div, 3, 4, 5 to show another div? You can do that. So I'm just going to delete all of that. I'm going to have 2 divs. I'm going to have you passed, and then I'm going to have you failed. So if users have 1, 2, 3 points, they fail. If they have more than 3 points, they pass. How do you do that? All you need to do is account for, just add a vertical bar again. So 0, 1, 2, 3. So if the user has the range between 0 to 3, they see this result. And they have 4, 5, 6, they see this result. Now let's publish that. It's not going to work because I have to add an attribute. Uh, Let me go down. Yeah, so you need, if you're using weighted range selection, you have to add another attribute on top to allow this. But again, it's all going to be in the app shortly, so it's going to be a lot easier. We just need to add data weighted selection range equals true, and then let's publish that. Where is it? There you go. Now, if let's go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. I failed because I did not get more than 3 points. But if I do, it's going to show me a different result. So all of option 1 is weight 1. So there you go, I passed. So this simplifies your result block. You don't have to account for, every single, you can merge a lot of results into one or two single, a single div essentially. So helps you build more complex forms quickly. So that's that. Now to the third feature. This is going to be super amazing, and I think everyone's going to be really excited to see this. Now, I'm just going to go back to again. This is also clonable, so I'm just going to show you it from the clonable. But here we have, yeah, that is. So you have a family member, right? So let's say you're having your client has a form for insurance or something like that, and they get details about family members that they want to insure. So you have me. I'm going to put my last name, put some email address, and then a relationship. So let's say I'm the son, right? I go to the next step. Now I want to add another family member. I can just click that. It's going to do that. So I'm going to add another one. Maybe I'm going to put John, right? I'm going to put Smith. I'm going to put an email. Let's say here's my dad, whatever. Now I go to the next step. I see all of that information. So that's amazing, right? So if you were to build this feature yourself, it's going to take you a lot of time and a lot of code. But with Formally, this is as easy as adding 5 attributes essentially, and we handle all of that for you. All the validation works, everything works, and you can also just delete it. So if I go ahead and delete that, go to the next step, it carries forward that essentially. So let's see how that's done. Again, the attributes as well as a Loom video is present on the documentation. In this example, I will be teaching you how to clone entire form sections, but you can actually also do it for individual fields as well. So here, let's say I want to have a different name for, have different children. I can keep adding this. And you can imagine add another email, add another name, add another address, whatever you want. And then all of this information is also being carried out to the next step. And if I remove it, it also removes it from the summary. So this is very powerful. Go through the documentation, but here I am just going to build it. I'm just going to build you a very simple version of it. So I'm just going to bring in the documentation over here. So first of all, you need to add an attribute to your wrapper element. What that means is that every time you, so let's say this is the form that I want to duplicate, right? I need to place this somewhere. I can't just duplicate it and then append it to the body, right? I need to tell the code, hey, duplicate it and put it inside this div block. So that's the wrapper element essentially. To that, you add data clone wrapper um, right here, and then you need to give it a value. This value could be anything that you want, but it sort of acts like an identifier. What do I mean by that? So here you can see, I'm just going to call this family. Um, and you can see what I mean by the name has to be the same. Um, and then next, this is the element that I want to clone. To that, I add data clone um, attribute, and then the value is also going to be family. So that's what I mean. You can name it whatever you want, but that sort of acts as your identifier um, for that instance, essentially. So I have family over here. The third attribute is, of course, you want to allow the user to add a new field or duplicate the field when they click on a button. Here, I want to do that on the next step. So they fill out their information, they go to the next step, and then maybe they want to add another family member. They click on this button, it takes them back to the previous step, and it's going to duplicate this div block, and then they have more inputs that they can fill out. So to do that, to that button over here, I add this attribute data add new, and again I have to use family because that's the identifier. And again here I have combined it with a back button, so every time they click on it, it takes them back to the next step, the previous step. Um, and then finally, you can also delete the entire section when they click on a button. So here I have a delete button. To that, I can add this attribute, which is data form equals remove clone, and this is going to duplicate that cloned element from the form. So I'm just going to give that a publish. Let's double check we have the script. We do. And let me open that project up. And you can see if I put in my detail, go to the next step, add another family member, boom, I have all of this now working, and I can keep adding as many family members as I want. And you may ask, how does the name change? The names doesn't change. So for example, the input name, let's say you have this as first name. This one will just be first name dash one. This one's going to be first name dash two. This one's going to be, email, email one, email two. That's how we sort of name it. So all of your submissions will be its own field in your submission. We do not override any of your inputs. It creates new inputs dynamically. And as you delete it, the deletion is also dynamic. So we have that. Now there's a couple of more attributes like sort of power-ups. If you want to show that data to on the summary card, essentially. Again, the concept is pretty much the same. You have a wrapper, and then you have the item itself. So here in my design, I have this element over here. This is the item that's going to get duplicated as many times as I want, as I add family members. And the wrapper that wraps all of this is going to have an attribute called um, data display wrapper equals family. So remember that value is sort of your identifier. And then this item over here, it's going to have data display equals family. Cool. So now we have that. And then there's also additional features that you want. So let's say you want an index value. This means over here where you have family member, and you want to show this, you want to duplicate this or like increase the value as you add new family members. So let's say you add 2, 3, 4, this value is going to keep increasing. And you can also do that to the summary card as well. So on the summary card, there are two different attributes, but they do the same thing. And this is because there you go. So you do that. Let's give that a publish. Again, I'm really sorry I'm moving at jet speed, I think. I sort of show you all of these features before we run out of time. But if you're interested, go through the documentation. There's a Loom video, and it's going to be super useful. It's going to be very, very powerful for you to do this within Webflow. without writing any line of code. There you go. And the concept is pretty much exactly the same for cloning individual inputs. So if you want to clone um, just an email address or something like that, all you need to do is, again, pretty much the same. I'm going to do a very basic version. You have a wrapper, you have the input that you want to clone, and then you have a button that triggers that cloning process. So I'm going to click copy on that. So here I have a wrapper, and then this is the input that I want to clone. So to that wrapper that wraps it, I am going to add this element. Again, the value could be anything you want, but it's sort of an identifier, so you have to keep it the same. So here I'm just going to call it child. And then to this input, this is the input that I want to clone. The attribute that I add is data clone input. And I do that, and this is going to be child. And then to the button, that's going to trigger the process. I add data add new input. So I'm going to copy that, paste that in, and I'm also going to call that child. So if I publish this, every time I click on add another child, that input is going to duplicate, and the user will be able to give more information. So this suppose they add another email, but you get the idea. So here I can add, I don't know, v@vdesigns.com, and then I can add another email. I can add my other email. I can add test@gmail.com or whatever. I can add that, and then I can just remove it if I don't want to. With, of course, you have to add the attribute. Again, this is data form equals remove input clone. All the sort of concept is pretty much exactly the same as the cloning the entire section. But yeah, this is going to be, again, super useful. We're really excited to launch it finally. Yeah, let me know if you have any other questions. We are almost at the end. So I'm really excited to see what everyone's been thinking. And if you have any questions, I'm really, really happy to answer that. Next, finally, FlowPlay received a little bit of quality of life update. And this one is the main one I would think that's really exciting is DOM elements are now supported. So you do not have to have an embed anymore. You can use the um, FlowPlay attributes in DOM elements. Like here, we have the DOM element, we have the um, file, and then we have our attributes. And then now if I publish this and I go to the page, you can see FlowPlay works amazingly with DOM elements as well. And then Vimeo gets a little more power-ups as well. So here we have Vimeo now we allow you to pull in titles dynamically from Vimeo, so you don't have to type it out manually. And then the best is going to be captions. Now we bring in captions into Webflow. Did I remove the attributes? I probably did. Always knew something was going to go wrong. Yeah, so that is there. Let me just bring up the script. Classic. So Vimeo life of quality updates, essentially just, I'm just going to open up a test project that we have. But sorry, this is, something is always going to go wrong, isn't it? Cool. The way it works is it pulls in captions from Vimeo dynamically. So you don't have, so if you have subtitles in your videos or anything like that, it's going to work by itself. Let's see if I have the script here. Yeah, there you go. So you have captions being pulled through from Vimeo. So these aren't on Webflow. And then when you click on the video, the captions sort of show over here. And then you can change it to different languages. So if you have French, Dutch, English, Spanish, it all changes dynamically, and the captions are being pulled through from Vimeo. Again, the setup is just adding a couple of attributes. You can also disable it if you don't want. But yeah, this is going to be, again, super powerful for people building very complex players in Webflow, and we just made it a little bit easier. The main feature is you can bring in the title as well as captions from Vimeo into your Webflow project seamlessly. and then we made some updates on the track, so it's a lot more smoother. As you drag, the video plays, it feels more native. Before this was a bit more laggy, but we've updated that a little bit. And yeah, all of these attributes for flow play is also on our documentation. Feel free to read that and clone any of the examples that we have. Um, yeah, I'm excited. And then, of course, finally, we can't forget the Chrome extension. I can't imagine we worked on all of this in 3 months. It's insane. Um, Chrome extension has a new look. Now we have updated it to match Webflow's new design. Previously, it had the old design similar to this, and we've updated it in like as soon as we saw the new UI, we've updated it. Everything looks a lot slicker now. We Since the last time we mentioned it, we added folders. We added code snippets, so you can store code snippets right on here, and you can copy and paste it into your projects. Components now can be nested into folders. Again, makes your experience a lot more cleaner and more useful. Um, yeah, that's the update with the Chrome extension. I think I covered everything I need to. So I'm gonna take some questions. If you have any questions, anything about Flowplay, Flowpilot, Formally, the Chrome extensions, or whatever we are working on, I'm really excited to talk about that. Um, yeah, thanks for your time. I really appreciate it. I know this was a bit hectic and a little bit fast, but I hope it gave everyone an idea on what you can do with Formally, the new Webflow apps. If you're excited, just download it. Everything's for free. So if you want to try all of our apps, as well as the features for Formally, everything is in the documentation. I'm really excited to see what you guys build with it. Cool. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to take in some questions that you might have. Command line icon. Oh, is that a Dutch bank? I found it on the Relium icon, and I just searched code, and it gave that slash. I just took that. Or I searched command or something like that. I'm not sure it's a logo, but I might change that. Thanks for the heads up on that. Yeah, we think the plan for Flowplay, I hate this, I'm going to change the name. For Flowpilot, we try to keep it as generous as we can without, we try to keep it as, because you bring in your own API key, the cost is going to be a lot cheaper as well. So if you're a very light coder, or if you just need a code snippets here and there, I think the free plan is very, very useful. 100 AI messages every month, so it's not like limiting you forever. So it's going to be useful, and then the lifetime membership is going to be a lot more powerful, a lot more useful as you start adding more features. It sort of helps you get into the app a lot faster. The price is definitely going to change. As you can see, it ends in 24 days. The price is going to increase. But yeah, it's going to be super useful. If you have any hesitation before you want to try, you can always try a demo on vdesigns.uk/flowpilot. That's a working demo right here. And again, we have different versions as well. We have Mapbox, so you can have Mapbox related queries or anything like that. Yeah, super excited. Thanks, Mark. I really appreciate all the feedback that we've got. Yeah, I'm really excited, and I can't believe we worked on all of this in like 3-4 months. So I'm really excited to actually start finally seeing people build with all of these cool features that we just announced, especially with Formally. Quizzes are just going to be a big thing. As you know, when you give people the power to build, they are going to build some cool stuff, and we are really excited to keep working on features and products to help people build more complex things on Webflow without code. Yeah, I think that's it. If you have any other questions, feel free to let me know. But otherwise, yeah, thanks for your time. I really appreciate it. Really excited to meet you guys in the next stream. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.